The ultimate tournament of everything.
Welcome to the Tournament of Everything, a bracket-style show where we compare everything on Wikipedia against every other thing on Wikipedia.
That is correct. And we do so by taking all of those infinite things and writing those things down on small tags, which we carefully fashion to the legs of an infinite amount of flies. We then release those flies into the world's largest terrarium containing an untold number of ravenous frogs. Which fly guy of infinity will be the last aloft? That will be our contestant moving on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
I have to say, your idea grosses me out a lot, mostly because the infinite number of flies. One is really too many. I can't imagine an untold number of them, and then I'd have to tie little tags to their legs. Can we pick a different idea?
Yeah, it's a pretty involved process. So I tell you what, why don't we just randomly generate two contestants at a time from Wikipedia and pit those off together to see who will be the victor?
I think that's a much, much better idea. And then I don't need to capture a bunch of frogs either.
Yeah, well, I've already got the frogs, so looks like we're making soup. Speaking of making soup, let's get in to round one.
Doesn't round one just sound like soup? In round one, we have Italia 61 Region Piedmont, the Turin Metro, against Chris Bell, the poker player.
Okay, two high-stakes competitors. One taking its turn in the Turin Metro in Italy. The other one laying down its chips for victory. Let's see if Chris Bell can ring the victory bell against its competitor here in this first round.
That almost rhymed. That was lovely, Mike.
Oh, thank you. I do what I can to make things rhyme.
Italia 61 is a station of the Turin Metro in Turin, Italy. The station is located next to the Piedmont region headquarters, a skyscraper under construction in the Nizza Milifante neighborhood.
Yeah, looks like this has been something that people have been looking at for a while. The mayor of Turin, Chiara Appendino, provided an updated timeline of the project in November of 2020, stating that construction on both Italia 61 and Benghazi stations should be completed by the end of January 2021, followed by a phase of track testing, including trains that would travel without passengers.
And that must have gone successfully because the station then opened on the 23rd of April, 2021. What a great time to open some public transit.
Yeah, at least ticket prices must have been a little bit lower. You never quite know what the odds are going to be when you get onto a train of something happening. But you never know what the odds are going to be when you get into the river of a poker game, just like our other contestant, Chris Bell, would frequently find himself doing.
Bell was born July 26, 1971, in St. Paul's, North Carolina, and he is, of course, an American professional poker player who won the 2010 World Series of Poker $5,000 pot limit Omaha High-Low Split 8 or better event. That is a really long name for a card game, everybody. We should really narrow that down.
He has, in fact, 4 cashes at the World Series of Poker, including 4 final tables with 1 bracelet. He won that bracelet at the aforementioned 2010 World Series of Poker in the $5,000. You've already heard it before, but he earned $327,040 after defeating professional poker player Dan Shack during heads-up play.
Now, he didn't just beat Dan Shack. He also beat Eric Seidel, Rob Hollink, and bracelet winner in 1981 World Series of Poker main event runner-up, Perry Green. Bell almost won a bracelet 2 years earlier, of course in 2008, but he did not win, because almost.
There can only be one winner. You got to stay on the tracks. And speaking of staying on the tracks, looking back at our other competitor, the Italia 61 Region Piedmont, I can see that it has 2 tracks. And two platforms, one for each, and it is owned by GTT, the Gruppo Torinese Transporti.
Well, now that we've read the entirety of that article, we may as well read the rest of Chris Bell's as well, which
I
we
think
already did
that's,
apparently. Yeah, we've read both of them. These are
yep, yep,
short.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, short but tall in the standings of this competition. Which one do you think is going to end up with the money here? The proverbial bracelet, if you will.
That's a great question because I'd like to compare the two, but I think playing poker on the subway might be illegal.
Yeah, underground betting establishments have never really been looked upon with favor by those in positions of power. This Chris Bell, he definitely he was out in the open. He was in the largest stage that you can possibly be in playing poker, the World Series of Poker, a literal World Series of poker. And he even won one. That's pretty amazing. Four final tables. He's crushing it. And so I think I'm going to lay my cards down for Chris Bell.
I think I'd have to agree with you. Anytime you can play a card game and people will give you over $2 million to do it, I think we need to call you a winner.
Absolutely. Hey, you're a royal flush in our book, and moving on to the next round of.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
I actually know a guy named Chris Bell. He's a different Chris Bell. Goes by a different name even, but that's a sweet guy. What's up, Taco? Speaking of what's up right now is round two.
It's time for round two.
In round two, we have West Sister Island against Andrews Peaks.
Okay, the West Sisters Island. A couple of sisters in the West got their own island versus Andrews Peaks. I think some of us have heard of the Andrews Sisters. That's not who we're competing against this time. Let's learn all about both of them and see who'll be victorious.
West Sister Island, also known as Andaman and Nicobar Islands, is a small uninhabited island in the Andaman archipelago at the northern side of the Duncan Passage, about 6 kilometers southeast of the Passage Island and 18 kilometers north of North Brother.
This seems to be a very family oriented geographical location. This particular island is pear shaped, about 380 meters long. Meters, you think, or miles? Probably.
I'm going to go meters.
Yeah, tough call. It's a small M, but it's in the northeast to southwest direction of and 340 small M units of distance wide at the base, covered by forest, has a rocky shore all around, with the exception of a tiny beach at the northeastern tip.
West Sister and the larger East Sister, located about 250 meters to the northeast, comprise the group called, you guessed it, the Sisters. They belong to the Andaman and Nicobar Island territories of India.
So we're definitely, though, talking about the smaller sister. I can't speak to their age, but this one is definitely lesser in stature. But what reigns high and supreme is our other competitor, Andrews Peaks.
Now, Andrews Peaks are a line of rock peaks 3 nautical miles long near the head of Arthur Glacier, or Glacier, I guess, for our British friends, situated between Mount Warner and Mount Crow in the Ford Ranges of the Mary Bird Land.
Looks like they were mapped by the U.S. Antarctic Service between 1939 and 41, as well as by the U.S. Geological Survey and the Navy. So there's been a lot of interest in them for quite some time. Bunch of programs. Not sure from this article what they were so interested in, but they certainly were fascinated.
They were named by the Advisory Committee on Antarctic Names for Stephen T. Andrews, a United States Antarctic Research Program ionospheric physicist, scientific leader at the Byrd Station in 1969. The same year we put a person on the moon, we also named these peaks.
Yeah, these peaks were just about as high as anybody standing on them could have been to the moon. Maybe it depends though on the position of the Earth, whether you were closer to it or not. But as we learned in the last episode, the moon is tidally locked. Speaking of really just locked in and being affected by tides, the West Sister Island, it's still out there. It belongs to, looks like the Andaman Nicobar Islands territory of India. Um, Heard of that last one. Haven't really heard of the other two. Looks like it's at the junction of the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea.
Now we have read the entirety of both of these articles, 2 quick rounds to get us started, so the question remains, one small island or one slightly larger mountain?
Line of rock peaks, 3 nautical miles long. These West Sister Islands, we're not sure about exactly how long they are. 380 lowercase m. Tough to really compare them by that. I think this is the perfect opportunity for a tiebreaker.
I think that is a great idea. So for everyone who doesn't know, we settle tiebreakers here by climbing these peaks. So Mike is going to run once around Sister Island. I am going to climb from the bottom to the top of Andrews Peak, and whoever gets there first is the winner.
I brought my grappling hook because I thought I'd be doing the other one. So I'll just be dragging myself around the probably lovely beach that surrounds this island. Can we save ourselves the airfare and just pick a number between 1 and 10,000?
Time for a tiebreaker.
Well, since you said 10,000, we all know what that means. Tiebreaker music and the tiebreaker machine.
Yes, too true, too true. The magic words have been spoken, and so it is time for us to generate numbers. I will be pulling my numbers for the West Sister Island, and I'm going to go with the number 380, for that is how many lowercase m units of distance it is long.
I think I'm going to go with the number 3, but 3 nautical miles. So by 3 nautical miles, I actually mean 6. So let's find out.
I'll give you both of them. You can have both of those numbers, and we'll see who's victorious. Rob, activate the random number generator. Oh, it needs an oil change.
The number dropped off of the back of that truck is 4,648.
Heyo, West Sister Island, you can bring your other sister with you because we're moving forward into the next round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Good for that island.
Yeah. It probably doesn't get a lot of laud and adulation, and so I'm glad that we were able to take the opportunity to give it the appreciation that it not only deserves, but just so very much earned there with its performance. I can't wait to get into the highfalutin action that is round 3.
It's time for round 3.
In round 3, we have Tantawan Park against Football Northern Territory.
Okay. We have a historical park in Cotabato City, that looks like that's in the Philippines, versus football in the Northern Territory. This is based out of Australia. I'm not sure if Tantawan Park would be a nice place to play a game of football, but we're going to find out. So let's dig right in.
Tantawan Park is located on the corner of Quezon Avenue and Sinswat Avenue, next to the Central Bank of the Philippines, Cotabato City Branch, and Immaculate Conception Cathedral Cotabato. Locals use the park for the relaxing massage offered by the therapist while viewing the busy street and monument of Muhammad Kudarat. Now, it just says offered by the therapist, so I'm assuming there's just one person who is the therapist in this park, and now I have more questions than answers.
Truly, there must be quite a line. But it's nice that it's not just a massage, a masseuse, a masseur. It's not, this is a therapist. They're actually offering like deliberate medical help to apparently random strangers in the park. Um, Situated at the foot of Pedro Colina Hill, also known as Tantowan. It's a historical site in Mindanao. I should probably have known that word. Served as a watchtower of the natives during their defense of the island from the invasion of the Spaniards from 1635 to 45.
Now, I think here's the difference between America and a lot of other countries. If I'm in America and somebody's like, "Hey, I got a massage from a stranger in the park," I would be like, "Did you call the police?" It's a serious question. Why are strangers giving you massages in the park?
That's true. It's a good time for the police or any other state governing body. Speaking of, let's jump over to our other competitor, the Football Northern Territory, or FNT. This is the state governing body for soccer in the Northern Territory of Australia, affiliated with Football Australia, the national governing body.
Now, I do wish, since they call it Football Northern Territory, that they would call it the state governing body for football in that territory and just assume that we know they meant soccer, because otherwise just call it the Soccer Northern Territory if you're going to define it so a second time. Now, the territory is also separated into 3 zones, Northern, Central, and FICA, which apparently means Southern, which have their own zone councils which administer leagues locally, running their own league and cup competitions.
Despite all of these leagues and competitions, there is currently no overall champion. The regional winners in 2016 were the Hellenic Athletic Club from the Northern Zone and the Celtic from the aforementioned Southern or FICA. But looks like the Federation conducts a territory wide Sports Ministers' Cup, which doubles as a qualification for the National FFA Cup.
Now, there's also a male knockout cup now run annually with clubs from Norzone and FICA. It's a single-leg knockout cup competition, first held as part of the preliminary rounds of the FFA Cup. It is the qualification route from the single NT Federation representative, now known as the Australia Cup, and the most recent victors are the Mindel Aces Football Club, who won 2-0 over Casuarina FC.
And that's a big deal. This is such an important cup that, above all other cups, since 2016, the final has been played for the cup. It appears that this is, the preeminent event as far as Northern Territory Australian soccer goes. There's a bunch of sweet team names here. We've got the Darwin Olympic, Shamrock Rovers Darwin. We got the Darwin Rovers and a few others. Casuarina FC. Yeah, these are some great team names.
Yeah, I'm surprised there was actually 2 named Darwin. That's interesting. You have a whole country of Australia, guys. Pick some other names, please.
Well, it's a great name. It's a strong name. And you know what they say, survival of the fittest. But you can't always just stay fit and healthy yourself. Sometimes you need to go to a park and get a rub down from a stranger, like you can do here in Tantawan Park. Looks like that's about all we see. I do see a beautiful statue here. Looks like a lady holding a probably is it a sword, something like that, all constructed of gold, placed upon a pillar. I don't see necessarily room for a soccer field here, though.
Yeah, that's like a giant, elaborate sword. So I think I'm going to have to go with the Football Northern Territory because a massage is not relaxing for me. I know people really like them, but the whole time I'm just like, it's a stranger. This is awkward. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Even if it's not just some rando in a park, if it's actually a legit person, I just can't. Can't do it.
Yeah, I think that football in the Northern Territory has got to be some of the absolute most northernly located football that they have, and as we all know, it's right near the top. Although down under, it's kind of the opposite. But hey, here we sit in the Northern Hemisphere judging them, and I judge them to also be the victor. Moving on to the next round of.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Australia, where south is really up and down is really left.
Yeah, everything's a little bit. Oh, I heard a great joke. It said that, and I didn't come up with this, but it said that the main export of Australia is boomerangs. It's also the main import
Oh, hang on, hang
because
on,
they
hang on, hang on. Oh no, the wrong button. Nope, wrong button.
might be more appropriate.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just because they come back to you. And
Oh,
yeah, yep,
oh,
yep.
okay. I didn't get it before.
Yeah, well, we get it now, and we're about to get into round four.
Ah, my round 4 is ready.
In round 4, we have Francis Delperi against Dargana Atlija.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna just be honest. Slacked a little bit on my research this week. Didn't have a chance to look into the future and see these two coming up, so I know nothing about them. Let's all be surprised together as we jump into two more shockingly short articles.
Well, 'tis the nature of the show. We learn about them when you learn about them. I literally have a button here that says Random Wiki. I click on it and we get one of these. I click on it again and we get a second one. And those two battle it out for your listening pleasure. Francis Del Paris is a French, well, apparently has a French name, but is a Belgian politician and a member of the CDH, born January 14th, 1942, in Liège. He was elected as a member of the Belgian Senate in 2007, and during his studies at Université Catholique de Louvain, he was a member of the Olivant Conference of Belgium. That is the entirety of his Wikipedia page.
We do have a bit more information that we can divine, though. He currently resides in Brussels, home of the Sprouts. He is.
Hang on. Did you say Brussels is home of the Sprouts?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, I was expecting the rim shot. I guess it wasn't worthy of that. Okay, thank you. This guy, though, was apparently worthy of being elected. He was in office from the 28th of June in 2007 through June of 2011. Looks like he was one and done, but hey, it's better than none. Speaking of one, let's get over to the other one in this round four, Dragana Atlija.
Now, she was born October 14th, 1983, in Knin, in Yugoslavia, and she's a Serbian model and actress and was Miss Serbia in 2009.
Very prestigious, very wonderful. Congratulations to you. Born in, as you said, Croatia, yet raised in Belgrade. She studied stock exchange at the R&B College International and speaks several languages, including Serbo-Croatian, English, Spanish, and Italian.
Mike, that's four more than we speak. Now, she acted as a model at Miss Global Beauty Queen 2008 in China and won the title Miss Bikini Charm at Miss Body Beautiful 2008, and in that same year won Miss Serbia 2008, represented the country at the Miss Universe in Nassau in the Bahamas.
I feel like Miss Universe is, that's Miss Universe, Mr. Universe. We've barely traveled to the moon. There's probably just some weird looking aliens out there who would think the same of us. And so I can't wait till we get to the point in our evolution where we do get to have competitions like that. But she was not limited to modeling and pageants. She also acted. Her first role was as tennis player in the action drama film 3 Days to Kill, followed by a cameo stint as a shot girl in the action crime thriller film The November Man.
Her first leading role came with the role as Lizzie in the action thriller Everly. She next portrayed Sheba in the supporting role of Ironclad Battle for Blood. Now, November Man is a spy movie with Pierce Brosnan in it.
Yeah, we've also got Ironclad. I don't see any stars in that. 3 Days to Kill had Kevin Costner, Amber Heard, Haley Steinfeld, a whole bunch of others. Yeah, I mean, she is she's definitely a force to be reckoned with. But let us not forget to recall our other competitor, Francis Del Perrier, or however it is pronounced. Frankly, I don't think he has the congeniality to defeat his competitor.
Yeah, I forgot about him already. All I could remember were the sprouts. So I think for that reason alone, I think I need to give it to Miss Serbia.
Absolutely. Miss Serbia Dragana Athleisha, you're sprouting up and growing into the next round.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Oh, good
Sprouts.
times. Sprouts indeed. Do you like Brussels sprouts, Rob?
I don't not like Brussels sprouts.
Have you ever eaten a Brussels sprout?
Like from Brussels? No.
No. Okay, well, let's make it a goal. Speaking of goals, let's keep our eyes on the prize and move on to round 5.
Round 5. Round 5.
In round 5, we have the boy who cried fabulous against Nodwell Peaks.
Yes, absolutely. We have a wonderfully fabulous book, The Boy Who Cried Fabulous versus a fabulous and outstanding place, Nodwell Peaks. This is going to be a tough one. We've got two sneaky yet seasoned competitors here facing off. I have no idea who's going to be victorious, so let's determine that presently.
The Boy Who Cried Fabulous was released by Tricycle Press in March of 2004, and it's a children's book by Leslie Newman and illustrated by Peter Ferguson.
Yeah, this was visually set in a mid 20th century America. It's about an enthusiastic boy named Roger who keeps getting sidetracked when walking home or to school by all the fabulous things he sees. He's at first scolded by his parents who forbid the word fabulous, leading them to come up with other celebratory adjectives like wonderful, stupendous, delightful, enchanting. But after a time, they come to appreciate the son's unique way of seeing the world. It seems like he just loved to be alive.
Publishers Weekly reviews it in describing Ferguson's burnished paintings as depicting a whimsical realm and a Roger reminiscent of Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen, of course, being the photographer who worked at the Daily Planet with Lois Lane and Superman.
Yeah, people just aren't comfortable with people who enjoy their lives too frequently, you know?
You are having too much fun. Can you stop that?
Yes. Why aren't you as miserable as I am? Well, perhaps it's because you're listening to the ultimate tournament of everything, where we are facing off these two competitors. Let's get on to the other one, Nodwell Peaks.
These are two outstanding, or may I say fabulous
Outstanding.
peaks, less than 1 mile apart on the east side of Edgeworth Glacier, again, Glacier Graham Land, situated 3 kilometers north-northwest of Skidoo, Nunatak, and 5.2 kilometers west of Masralav, Nunatak.
This is another one that's had a lot of interest in it from a lot of people for a long time. Mapped from surveys by the Falkland Islands Dependencies Survey in 1960 to 61, it was named by the United Kingdom Antarctic Place Names Committee, or the UK-APC, after Robin Nodwell Manufacturing Limited of Calgary, Canada. These were the makers of Nodwell tracked carriers, which were invented by Bruce Nodwell and used in Antarctica since 1960.
This is actually our second mountain from Antarctica in this very episode.
It's true. They're ice cold and standing tall, definitely representing well. I would say that their appearance so far is fabulous, just like the other book that we have here. However, as has been the case tonight, that is all the info we have on both of these. This is remarkable.
Yeah, it's apparently a show of short articles, but that doesn't make them any less fantastic. There I go again, using those superlatives. I think I need to
Indeed.
give this one to the boy who cried fabulous just for his energy, chutzpah, and some great cover art.
Too true. What are we doing if not trying to figure out what is the most fabulous, wonderful? I'm out of words, and that's exactly why we need to get this book. And we also need to get this book into the next round of...
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Real page turner.
Yeah, I don't know how many pages there are. It's a children's book, so probably not many, but you must turn them to read it.
Absolutely. What you don't have to turn to read is this podcast, for it comes in audio form. You can find these full length episodes. Don't forget, twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday. You can also find shorts on every other day of the week where we look at just one competitor prior to their competition. That's what you're here for. That's what we're doing. And that's why it's time for round 6.
Make the turn around the last curve. He comes around the last side, and there you have it. There is your winner, round 6.
In round 6, we have Eppendorf Hamburg against Ruslan Labazanov.
Okay. These definitely both sound like they're in Europe. Well, actually, we have an individual who may be somewhere. That's our Ruslan fellow. And Eppendorf, Hamburg, it's not going anywhere because this is one of the quarters of Hamburg Nordborough in Hamburg, Germany. Let's see if it's. Look, we're going to have to learn about both of them. I'm not going to spoil anything quite yet, but I'm excited.
Now, Eppendorf is one of the 13 quarters in Hamburg Nordborough of Hamburg, Germany. Now, of course, quarter meaning place you live, not 1/4, because like I said, there are 13 of them. In 2012, the population was 24,806 people. No mention of how many families that entails. Eppendorf, first mentioned as Eppenthorp in 1140, is Hamburg's oldest village, and its name originates either from the Old Germanic Eppen, on the water, or from the personal name Ebbo or Eppo. It is possible, but unlikely, that it was named after Ebbo, the Archbishop of Reims.
The Archbishop of Reims, indeed, during the restoration of the St. Johannes Church, which was first mentioned in 1267. Wow, very old. Ruins of an even older stone tower were found. So people have certainly been here for a long time. In the 19th century, however, Eppendorf gained popularity among the affluent people of Hamburg. The low-lying moist land was banked up and built on, and the last area of moorland, the Eppendorf Moor, was placed under nature protection in 1982.
Eppendorf has several parks and even a train station, and the University Medical Center of Hamburg-Eppendorf was built starting in 1879, founded in 1884, and has been a university medical center all the way back to 1934.
So let's jump forward just a little bit, about 33 years to the birth of our other competitor, Ruslan Labazanov, the notorious crime boss and head of the Russian-supported Chechen anti-Dudiev faction in the very first Chechen War.
Labazanov was born in internal exile in Kazakhstan in 1967 in the Chechen family of the Tepnak Kaloy. He became an Eastern martial arts expert and served in the Red Army as a physical training instructor. After leaving the army, he became known as a flamboyant, charismatic, and extremely violent gangster. In 1990, he was convicted of murder and sentenced to death before escaping from prison in 1991.
Yes, in fact, according to himself, he actually escaped the Grozny pretrial detention center saying, quote, "During the 1991 coup, I freed the whole prison, nearly 600 men ahead of time. They obeyed me." That is creepy.
Yeah, he's not a guy I'd want to run into at all. Since 1992, he's aligned closely with Chechen President Dazkar Dudiev, eventually becoming the chief of Dudiev's personal presidential guard and holding a rank of captain in the Chechen National Guard, before falling out with him after a year and a half and during the 1993 Chechen constitutional crisis. A lot of bad things going on in Chechnya, apparently.
Yeah.
After a bloody two-day clash between his followers and allies, including the Chechen Mafia and Chechen Mafia boss Nikolai Sulumanov, Dudiev's loyalists in the center of the Chechen capital Grozny and Oh, it just keeps going. It gets worse and worse,
Yeah,
guys.
it does. Well, it gets worse and worse, but they tried to put a spin on it. It looks as though he became the commander of his own paramilitary outfit, the NISO movement. He assumed the role of a quote unquote Chechen Robin Hood, a self styled defender of the people against the oppressive authorities with a private army of about 200 men, mostly former convicts like himself, and was based in the town of Argon. Looks like he was supplied with T 72 tanks and other heavy weapons provided by the Russian Special Forces. Wow.
Well, he died the way he lived, violently. He was reportedly gunned down at point blank range in his fortified castle like house where he'd been living with his 3 wives, and apparently killed not by one of his wives, but by one of his own men. The Russians blamed Separatist Field Commander Shamil Bazyov in the killing, but according to another version, perhaps Lobzhanov was victim to blood vengeance based on one of the people he had killed earlier.
Yeah, this is interesting though, because, and I've been waiting to get to the bottom of this article to understand what it meant. I still don't know, but right up at the top it says, born in 1967, disappeared, not died, June 1st of 1996. So I wonder if there is, looks like it says he's been missing for 26 years, 4 months, and 8 days. I don't know if that's still missing. I don't know if, he was confirmed killed or what, but look, this is definitely one interesting and dangerous fella.
When I'd recommend everyone look at the Wikipedia article because his picture looks like how you would imagine a guy trying to flee from Russia would be dressing to blend in. He
Looking
looks like
pretty
he's
good.
already in witness protection.
Got some cool shades. Ooh, look at that big old ring he's got. Yeah, pretty sweet. But is he as sweet as that beautiful town district, that one of 13 quarters in Hamburg, Eppendorf?
I think we definitely know he's not. He definitely doesn't seem like a nice guy. I think I gotta give it to the nice people of Eppendorf in Hamburg. Such nice people, such as Wolfgang Borchert, Yui Suler, Sammy Deluxe, Jan DeLay, and even the country group Texas Lightning, which apparently is a country group that plays German music in the Texas style.
Wow. It seems like country music is just creeping into every single genre, apparently, even including that of Germany. I don't know though. It sounds like a nice, pretty peaceful place. I feel like this Russian Ruslan Labazanov would come in there and just kind of might be able to run the joint with his tanks and heavy artillery.
Yeah, I don't think I can give it to him because he's currently missing, and we know where most of these people in Eppendorf are. They're in Eppendorf.
Ah, that's true. That's true. It is many against the one, that many being about 24,806. Yeah, that's quite a few. Yep, absolutely. Hey, it's a we are nothing if not a democracy here, and so I'm going to have to go with those who can and still do vote, or would at least be available to moving on Eppendorf, Hamburg, to the next round of.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
I feel bad trying to give a warlord any credit in the tournament because warlords are bad.
But they are competitors. You got to give them that. They're scrappy. They've got resources, but what they don't have is a victory in the very first round of the Ultimate Tournament of Everything so far. Let's see if that changes in round 7.
7.
Round 7.
Round 7. Round 7. Round 7. Round 7.
In round 7, we have Matilde Sisia against Pyruki.
Okay, Matilde Susia is a former ice dancer, elegant skating on the top, versus Pierucci, the administrative district in Sermine, Poland. Looks like that definitely goes all the way down, well, as its other competitor likes to stay on and above the surface. Let's see which one is going to be able to own the ground that they stand upon.
Matilda Sissia, born October 6, 1952, is an Italian former ice dancer who dances, as Mike said, on top of the ice and not under it. She's competed with Lamberto Cicerani when she won a gold medal at the Italian Figure Skating Championships, not once, not twice, several times.
Unnumerable, but not too many to say like every time. She was definitely there, definitely remembered. She did finish fifth at the 1975 World Championships and sixth at the 1976 Winter Olympics, even earning herself a role in the 1980 movie Zappatore.
She wasn't very successful on the international level, but nationally in Italy, she was the gold medalist 7 times. 7 consecutive times.
Absolutely crushing it. I would love to see some of her routines. I wonder what type of music she would perform to back in, the 70s, the 1975, 76. Nowadays, it's all, modern music. I bet they were dancing to some great stuff there. She's still kicking around. I wonder if she's still skating. Probably a little tougher to do that triple lux. But speaking of Lux, let's go over to that luxurious other competitor, the village of Pierucci in Poland.
It's a village in the administrative districts of Gmina Zierman within Perswy County, Greater Poland Voivodeship in West Poland. It lies approximately 12 kilometers north of Plezu and 74 kilometers southeast of the regional capital of Poznan. Now, those pronunciations are probably totally incorrect, but what can I say? It's in Polish.
Yeah, I think you made a good effort there, especially with your pronunciation of village. But looking
The
at
English part? Yeah, no, I was great at that.
looking at its placement in the country, it is just west of dead center, really. And that's probably a nice place to be in Poland. Everything's accessible to you. Um, Yeah, it's that's unfortunately all we know though. We don't even have a number of families located in there. We do have I mean honestly, that's about all I can tell you. I don't think that it's going to be able to defeat the sharp blades wielded upon the elegant feet of its competitor.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
I gotta agree, if only because one of these has a bunch of awards and one of them does not. So I think I need to give another award to Matilda Sissia.
Matilda Sissia, you've got a bunch of awards. This place in Poland has probably seen more than its fair share of wars. But needless to say, the victor will be skating on to the next round. Matilda Sissia, congratulations, you're moving on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
She's so awesome, I think she broke the button. Good job.
Yeah,
Great job.
definitely. We're gonna have to get that button fixed. But button, who's got time to fix a button? Not me. Let's get in to round. This time it's actually 8.
I say, would you by chance have any round 8?
Round 8!
In round 8, we have Leucanopsis tonimo against Eidsvoll 1814S.
Yeah, definitely. Two fantastic things. We've got one of our favorite types of competitors, a moth, facing off against, this is interesting, an American football team based in Norway. Let's see which one's going to be able to kick it off right and get into the next round.
As we know, moths show up in the show a lot. Like a moth to a flame, so moths also flock to the tournament. Now, this is a moth in the family, Erebidi. You knew that already. As described by William Schaus in 1904, it is found not in Cuba, apparently on Cuba.
It would be tough for a moth to fly through the soil that creates that island. So only logically would it rest upon the surface. That's a good place for a moth to be. It can fly when it wants to, but hey, why use too much energy? You're in Cuba, buddy. Take it easy. Speaking of things being in places that you might be surprised to find them, let's jump over to our other competitor, the Eastval 1814s, again, the American football team based in Eidsvoll, Germany, members of the Norway American Football Federation.
Now, it's apparently a football team based in Norway, and as Mike said, it's the 1814s, not the 1814s reading. It's a skill. Their name is taken from the signing of the Norway Constitution. So this is a country that usually plays football, soccer, wanting to instead play American football and naming it after their moment of freedom, because that's what American football is. Freedom. It's freedom.
This would be like us taking the freedom, the liberty to create a football or soccer team and call it the Philadelphia 1976s. I think we can all agree. Not a great name, but it's probably better than the Commanders. This was founded in 1995 by Kenneth Anderson. Started play the following year as a Division II team. They went undefeated in league play during their first 2 seasons, winning back-to-back Division II championships.
Well, that's what happens when you're playing freedom ball. They joined Division One, where they then lost in double overtime to the Oslo Vikings, the Oslo Vikings, in their first playoff appearance at that level, and then won their first Division One league championship in 2001, and they've even automatically qualified to play in the European Football League quarterfinals.
These are some heavy hitters. Looking at their uniforms here, they appear to be sporting a red helmet, red pants, and their home jersey looks to be yellow with white stripes. I like it. As far as Norwegian American football teams go, this has got to be my favorite, for it is the only one I've ever heard of, but you've got a fan so far. Speaking of fans, the wings of a moth are like small fans that keep it aloft in the air until it decides to land on the land, which in this case is Cuban.
Yeah, a moth in Cuba against a freedom ball team in Norway. I think we know where this is going. I think we definitely know who's going to win.
Absolutely. Moth, you've lost because this other competitor is scoring touchdowns left and right. Although, would it be left and right or right and left? Because they drive on the opposite side. Did they reprioritize things over there?
I think they're still running the ball north and south, don't you?
There you go. You got to do it. Keep your head down, but keep your eyes up because you're moving on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
I think I'm going to keep calling football freedom ball, just so we understand the difference between football and football. And now
That's
I
right,
want a
bud.
jersey for the 1814s.
Yeah. Did you see their logo there? They've got a little it's just basically the number 1814 with a couple of intertwining S's in the middle. It does not look entirely unlike a sign of infinity. And I think that their presence here and they're moving on to the next round of the Infinite Tournament of Everything is just a sign of the continuation of the progress of infinity. And I think we should not inhibit that. Let's get in to round 9.
It's about time for round 9. Round 9.
In round 9, we have Ernst Moore against Diego Ormachea. This is one of those rare moments where we have one person against another person.
Yes, the most dangerous of game, facing off against each other. Let's Ernst Moore, more or less, he's going to be a really sturdy competitor facing off against Diego Ormachea, though he's a former Uruguayan rugby player, current coach. He knows a thing or two. Let's see which one's going to be able to strategize up a win.
Now, this Ernst Moore was a professor of mechanical engineering, not to be confused with the Ernst Moore who was a gymnast. So, this Ernst Moore, professor of mechanical engineering at the University of Wuppertal, he developed the meteorological Moore rocket on behalf of the German Rocket Society. And this rocket was first successfully launched September 14th, 1958.
Now, a Moore rocket, assumably named after this Ernst Moore, is a sounding rocket. Yes, in fact, developed by him in Wuppertal, Germany. The first successful test that the rocket had, it reached a height of 50 kilometers, and it could send out its payload, which we have no information of what that could have been, at speeds of 1.2 kilometers per second.
Now, every once in a while, I forget what metric units are, but I have a feeling 1.2 kilometers per second is very, very fast.
Yeah, a kilometer, it's less than a mile, but it's more than a foot. So anything like that, that's pretty wickedly quick. Speaking of wickedly quick, let's just dash on over to our other competitor, Diego Ormechea.
Now, of course, we're talking about the one born in 1959, not the one born in 1989.
No, no,
He
no, no, no.
he's a current rugby union player and coach. Well, former player, current coach. He played as a number 8. I don't know what that means, and I'm assuming it's not just the jersey. It might be a position in rugby. So if you know anything about rugby, that means something to you. He's considered the greatest Uruguayan rugby player of all time.
Yeah, number 8 in your program, number 1 in your heart. His contribution to rugby has been significant, not only as a player and coach, but as an inspirational personality that attracts many youngsters to the sport. His profession, though, is veterinary surgeon, specializing in racing horses. So this is a man of many, many talents. And even his son was bestowed with some of those gifts. He is now an international rugby union player.
He was introduced to rugby as a 15-year-old in 1976 and played for over 2 decades. He played most of his career with the Carrasco Polo Club, winning the national championship 13 times. He also holds the national record for Uruguay with 73 caps and 16 tries scored, 79 points in aggregate during 15 years from 1979 to 1999.
He was just a beast from the get go. He actually, at age 40, was the oldest player ever at the Rugby World Cup finals in 1999. He was even the captain in his country's first ever presence at the event, and he scored a try in the 27 to 15 win over Spain.
I have no idea what a try is, but I guess I could guess.
If at first you're not aware, just try again. It seems this Diego had the same concept. He left rugby for a year, but he later returned for a final season at Carrasco Polo Club before putting an end to his long, long, prestigious career in 2001 at the age of 41.
This man is just fantastic. Not only is he the best rugby player in Uruguayan history ever, he also is a terrific surgeon, looks like a great coach, loving father, inspiration to all who meet him. I don't know how Ernst Moore is still being talked about in this competition.
Well, Ernst Moore has earned a little bit more of our time. We need to at least acknowledge that he got a rocket up into the air. But as far as German rocket scientists go, I think some others were likely a bit more, for better or for worse, successful and perhaps innovative. Though 1958, it's actually not super early for rocket tech, I guess. Relatively early, but
Well, there you go. We've acknowledged him. Can we move on to announcing Diego the winner now?
oh, we certainly can. Just like so many have before and likely will again, Diego Ormachea, you've scored several tries. It only took you one, though. Here to move on to the next round of.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Well, thank you for listening. That's been 18 competitors off Wikipedia spread across 9 rounds, going through categories as varied as rugby player in Uruguay, a random moth, and even some guy named Chris Bell who apparently played poker.
Yeah, just a whirlwind of competition that we faced here. But This is just what we do. Every Tuesday and Thursday, you can find a brand new full length competition episode of the Ultimate Tournament of Everything with 9 rounds, 18 competitors of the absolute cream of the crop of infinity. Every other day of the week, you could find a scouting report, a deep dive into them, in the locker room, in the off season, before they hit the pitch. So be sure to tune in every single day and let us know what you think.
You can find us everywhere podcasts can be found, and maybe even some places they can't, like, I don't know, the internet. And when you do, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and maybe even tell us why you think this is the most fabulous show you've listened to today.
The ultimate tournament of everything.